Most of us are ruled by our bodies. When the body says it is tired, we quit. When it says it is afraid, we run. When it craves something, we give in. But Smith Wigglesworth flipped that completely. He spoke to his own body and told it what to do, and he said it had to obey. It sounds strange, but behind it is a truth that can change how you live every single day. Tonight, you learn how Wigglesworth commanded his own body. Let me start by telling you about the habit, because it really did surprise people who knew him. In the morning, Smith Wigglesworth would wake up, and before his feelings had a chance to run the day, he would speak to his own body. He would talk to it out loud, almost like a master talking to a servant. He would tell it to get in line. He would say, in effect, "Body, you are not going to rule me today. I am going to rule you. You will do what I tell you to do." He had decided long before that his body was his servant, not his master, and he refused to let his tiredness, his cravings, his feelings, or his fears run his life. Now I know how strange that might sound the first time you hear it. Talking to your own body, but stay with me, because underneath this odd-sounding habit is one of the most powerful truths in the whole Christian life, and it comes straight out of the Bible. Here is the truth Wigglesworth understood. You are not your body. Let that sink in. You have a body, but you are not your body. The real you, the part of you that will live forever, is on the inside, your spirit. And God's plan was always that the inside person, your spirit, led by His Spirit, would be in charge of the outside person, your body. But for most people, it is completely backwards. The body is on the throne, barking orders, and the spirit is the servant, scrambling to obey. The body says, "I am tired," and we quit. The body says, "I am afraid," and we run. The body says, "I want that," and we give in. The tail is wagging the dog. Wigglesworth simply put things back in the right order. He took his place as the master, and he put his body back in its place as the servant, and he did it on purpose, every single day. Let me show you that this is not some strange idea he invented. The Apostle Paul said almost the exact same thing. Paul wrote that he disciplined his body and kept it under control, like a fighter, so that after preaching to others, he himself would not be disqualified. Read that carefully. He disciplined his body. He kept it under control. He treated his body as something that had to be brought into line, not something that got to call the shots. Paul was doing the very thing Wigglesworth did. He refused to let his flesh be the boss. And there is more. The Bible talks constantly about a war inside every one of us, between the flesh and the spirit. The flesh, our body and its appetites, pulls us one way. The Spirit of God, working in our spirit, pulls us another way. And the question of your whole life, in a sense, is which one you will let win. Will you walk by the flesh, ruled by every craving and feeling and fear? Or will you walk by the Spirit, with your inner person in charge, leading your body instead of being dragged around by it? Wigglesworth chose to walk by the Spirit, and part of how he did that was by literally telling his body who was boss. Now let me bring this right down to where you live, because this is not just about a famous preacher. This is about your daily life today. Think about Daniel, taken as a young man into a foreign land. The king offered him the finest food and the richest wine from the royal table. His body would have wanted all of it. But Daniel had decided, on the inside, what he would and would not do, and he refused to let his appetite rule him. The Bible says he purposed in his heart that he would not defile himself. He ruled his body instead of letting his body rule him. And because he kept that inner mastery, God lifted him to greatness in a strange land. The man who could say no to his own appetites was the man God could trust with great things. The same is true today. The person who cannot rule their own cravings will always be limited by them. But the person who has learned, by God's grace, to lead their own flesh is a person God can use without limit. Think about how often your body runs your decisions. The alarm goes off and your body says, stay in bed, so you skip the thing you meant to do. You sit down to pray, and your body says, you are restless, you are bored, so you get up. You decide to do something good for your health, and your body craves the opposite. So you give in. You feel a wave of fear, and instead of standing firm, you let the fear decide your choices. In 100 small ways, every single day, your body is making your decisions for you, and you may never have even noticed that you handed it the steering wheel. Wigglesworth would tell you to take the wheel back. You are the one in charge, not your flesh. When your body says, I am too tired to do the right thing, you can answer it. Body, you will do this anyway because I am the master here, not you. When your body craves what is harmful, you do not have to obey it. When fear rises up, you do not have to let it run the show. You can speak to yourself, the way the writers of the Bible did, and tell your soul to take heart, to hope in God, to get back in line. Let me give you a simple picture. Think about a horse and its rider. A horse is powerful, far stronger than the man on its back. If the horse is in charge, it will go wherever it wants, eat whatever it wants, run off in any direction, and even hurt itself and its rider. But a good rider takes the reins and brings that powerful animal under control. He does not kill the horse or hate the horse. The horse is a wonderful thing when it is under control. He simply makes sure that he is steering the horse and not the other way around. Your body is like that horse. It is powerful and it is good, but it was never meant to be the one steering. You are meant to hold the reins. Wigglesworth held the reins of his own body. Most people have dropped them. Now I need to be very careful and honest here, because this truth can be twisted in dangerous ways, and I care about you too much to let that happen. Commanding your body does not mean abusing it, starving it, ignoring real sickness, or treating it like an enemy. Your body is a gift from God. The Bible even calls it a temple of the Holy Spirit. Disciplining your body means leading it wisely, the way a good rider cares for his horse, not punishing it or harming it. It means saying no to the cravings that hurt you and yes to the things that are good for you. It does not mean pretending you are never tired, or refusing to rest, or ignoring real pain that needs care. Wigglesworth was bold, but the goal was always a healthy mastery, not cruelty to yourself. If your body is truly unwell, caring for it, resting it, and getting help is not weakness. That is wisdom, and wisdom and faith are friends. So how do you actually start to command your body the way Wigglesworth did? Let me make it simple. Look at how often the people of faith in the Bible spoke to themselves instead of just listening to themselves. King David, in the Psalms, would actually turn and talk to his own soul. When he was cast down and discouraged, he did not just sink into the feeling. He said to himself, "Why are you downcast, O my soul? Why so disturbed within me? Put your hope in God." Do you see what he was doing? He was not letting his sadness be the boss. He was taking charge of his own inner world, preaching to himself, commanding his soul to lift its eyes back to God. That is the very same thing Wigglesworth did with his body. Both of them understood that you do not have to be a passive victim of whatever you happen to feel. You can take charge. You can speak truth to yourself out loud and lead your soul and body back into line with what God has said. First, remember who you really are. You are not your feelings. You are not your cravings. You are not your fears. You are a child of God with His Spirit living inside you, and that inner person is meant to lead. When the body shouts, remind yourself that the real you is in charge, not the noise of the flesh. Second, speak to yourself instead of just listening to yourself. There is a huge difference. Most people spend all day listening to their body and their feelings tell them what to do. Wigglesworth flipped it. He talked to himself. He told his body and his soul what they were going to do based on what God said instead of just obeying whatever they felt like. You can do the same. When the feeling says quit, you say, no, we are going to stand. When the craving says give in, you say, no, we are going to do what is right. Third, do the right thing whether you feel like it or not. This is where it all becomes real. You will not always feel like praying, working, forgiving, or standing firm. If you wait to feel like it, you will be ruled by your body forever. So you do the right thing anyway, in the strength God gives, and your feelings learn to follow. Over time, the body that used to be your master becomes your servant, and that is real freedom, because here is the truth Wigglesworth lived by. A person who is ruled by their body is never free. They are pushed around by every craving, every mood, every fear, blown about like a leaf in the wind. But a person who, by the grace of God, has learned to lead their body instead of being led by it, that person walks in the steadiness and the strength that most people only dream of. Wigglesworth was not a slave to his flesh. He was its master, under God, and that is part of why his life carried such power. So let me ask you tonight, who has been in charge of your life, you or your body, your feelings or your faith? Have you been handing the reins to your cravings, your tiredness, your fears, and then wondering why you feel so out of control? It is time to take the reins back, not by hating your body, but by leading it. Remember who you are. Speak to yourself instead of just listening to yourself, and do the right thing whether you feel like it or not, in the strength God gives. Tell your body, kindly but firmly, that it is going to follow, because the real you, led by God's Spirit, is finally back in charge. That is what Wigglesworth knew. He was not ruled by his flesh. He ruled it under God. And that same freedom, that same steady mastery is open to you starting tomorrow morning. If this gave you something to hold on to tonight, try it when you wake up. Before your feelings run the day, take a moment and decide, with God's help, that you will lead your body and not the other way around. Take the reins back, one day at a time. And if you want to keep growing this kind of bold, steady, spirit-led life, stay here with us. There is so much more still to see.